What's up, mi gente? It's the radioactive Bobby Danny Limelight, multiple-time champion, award-winning filmmaker and actor. You're listening to the CCP podcast. Subscribe, follow, do all that, and make sure you guys catch all new episodes whenever they drop.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome to a live taping of Beyond the Bell right here on Twitch. I am Chris Page. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday. I know I am. It can't get any better than waking up and saying, Self, I think I've got PTO to burn, and I think today's the day that I'm going to take a day to sleep. And that's exactly what I did. Welcome to Beyond the Bell. I'm glad to have each and every one of you here live with us this evening. We've got a fantastic show on deck. Let's dive right in. The beautiful thing about independent wrestling, guys, is it is flourishing and thriving everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I don't just mean internationally. I mean here in the States as well. Our guest today, first time. We have not had somebody from this market. I'm really excited to bring him in and talk to him and find out everything that's going on down in New Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Beyond the Bell Live. He is the Jackpot. He is Ricky Aguila. How's it going, Ricky?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. I'm definitely excited to come and talk to you.
Did I botch your fucking last name?
No, you didn't. That was
Okay.
good.
All right.
That was actually good. We're good there.
Give myself a little pat skis on
Pat
the
on the
back, man.
back.
How you doing, brother? It's good to
Yes,
see
sir.
you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, it's fun. It's one of our favorite shows that we do on our platform. Being able to sit down and talk to so many of you guys, not just here in the States, but internationally, and figuring out what's happening where, and everything about your area. Shout out to UK Paul, I see you in chat. Shout out to No Game Unturned, I see you in chat. For those that are just kind of lingering in and just watching in the background, welcome to you too. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to drop them in chat. I will work them in as we go amongst the conversation. Ricky, when I start these things off, man, I really like starting at the top and figuring out like what drew you into professional wrestling, like what got you hooked, with different guys, it's different things, and it kind of sets the groundwork for where we go with our conversation. So tell me from your perspective, when did you fall in love with pro wrestling?
All right. So my extremely early memories of pro wrestling would have to be when I used to live in Mexico. I was born in Juarez, Mexico. So early memories would probably be like my parents, they would go to these markets, and I remember they would buy me like a wooden ring with rubber bands as the ropes, and they would come with like four like stick wrestlers made out of like some kind of plastic. But I remember just like being a little kid, like being like maybe 2, 3, 4 years old, just playing with those rings, and then just I don't know, it's crazy, just falling in love with that, and then when it comes to like actually watching it in TV. I do remember, it was when we moved over here to the States to Mexico. It was SmackDown. So SmackDown was on. I think it was when I was on My 50 TV. I think that's what the channel was called. So the first, I think it was the episode where Eddie Guerrero wrestled Mr. Kennedy, which is Eddie's last match. So I remember tuning into that episode, and that was like that was basically like the match that like drew me in to like pro wrestling. I would say that's like my earliest memories from pro wrestling
Well,
for sure.
Guerrero is definitely a legend, and
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
gone too soon for sure. And I could
Hmm.
see how that would be a sparking point for you to
Hmm.
try and open your eyes. For me, I was an '80s child, so I was,
Hmm.
but not
Yeah.
not the WWF '80s, man. I was Crockett '80s. I was give me
Oh,
NWA,
dang.
give me Flair and the Horsemen, and
Yeah.
I'm good to go. Uh,
That's the golden age.
it was, and but what's so beautiful right now about the scene on the independent scene, as I say it all
Hmm.
the time, it's eerily similar to the old territory system in the old territory days. Everywhere Like
Definitely. Yeah.
it's truly blowing up, and it's on fire in such a positive way in every place that
Mhm.
we have been able to look. And I would imagine that down in your neck of the woods, New Mexico, it's got to be kind of popping there as well. So was you
Mhm.
start your journey into the wrestling scene? What kind of steered you that direction, and what's it look like getting started down in your
So for me, definitely like I said, when I watched that first match, with Eddie versus Mr. Kennedy, I think it was just like, you know, the athleticism the personality, the character that was, Eddie Guerrero. And I believe that was the match where it was the qualifying match for Survivor Series. So he did the classic Eddie spot with the chair hitting it in the ring and then falling down and got DQ'd and got the win. So that's for me. It's like obviously the entertainment. That's how we do this. The athleticism. The characters, like all that fun stuff. And for here, like in Albuquerque, like we did talk about the territories and all that. So Albuquerque has been like picking up a lot of steam when it comes to like the pro wrestling scene for sure. I don't know if you're aware, but NWA just signed on with the company that's here in Albuquerque. They're called Duke City Championship Wrestling. So now they're a territory with the NWA. So it definitely has been picking up in that sense of like a lot, like getting the ball rolling with like the scene here. It's been awesome.
When you start getting
Mhm.
into training, what's that look like? Where you training at now? You know,
Mhm.
going into to training, a lot of guys have a things that
Yeah.
they're difficult to hone in on, or some of the things that you had difficulties with, and how did you persevere through them?
Mhm.
As an example, for me back in '99, it was footwork. Uh, it took me a minute
So,
to get the footwork down. Once I did, though,
mhm.
and how I worked through it was fucking reps and more
Yeah.
reps,
Oh,
training
right. Yeah.
and more training,
Yeah.
running the ropes, foot drills, etc., etc. What's that look
Mhm.
like for you?
Mhm. So the school I currently train at is called Prime Pro Wrestling. It's here in Albuquerque. It's ran by my trainer. His name is Luis Super Chaos Guzman and Danny G. So those are the trainers currently at Prime Pro Wrestling. It's with that school, it's awesome because like we go through like so many. They my trainer Super Chaos. He's more of a lucha style. And that's been awesome because we've been learning like so many styles in training, lucha, technical, just it's like a mix of everything. But no, the training is actually really fun here. There's actually several schools here, Prime Pro Wrestling, Off the Ropes. And I know there's another school, but I can't really get my mind around it or what's it called. But there definitely has been a lot of schools popping up here, which is great because like we're getting more and more people involved in the scene. Personally, for me, so I started training in May of 2023. So that was 2 years ago. I had my actual debut last year, and I went through an injury. I had an ankle injury that took me out like 4 or 5 months, and I actually opened up a business. So basically, last year sucked for me in the sense of like wrestling. Like it was a tough year, terrible. But now, this year has been awesome. I'm picking up now. Picking up more dates. But the training at Prime Pro Wrestling has been awesome for me. One thing that I think I definitely struggled with was probably my confidence.
Mm.
Confidence in like my character, and like when I'm in the ring, with like the spots. That's something that I think I struggle with the most, with like my self confidence, and like making sure that everything looks good, I look good, facial, like all the good stuff and all that. But no, I mean it's been awesome for sure at Prime.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Prime Pro. It's again beautiful thing about
Mhm.
independent wrestling is that there's so much of it everywhere.
Mhm.
And like I say on our
Mhm.
channel all the time, if you don't step out of your comfort zone, you'll never know
Mhm.
what's out there.
Mhm.
I'm not too familiar
Mhm.
with Prime Pro. Is that just strictly a
Mhm.
training facility, or do they do shows as well? What does that look like?
So Prime is actually like it's crazy to explain. So they do pro wrestling there. They do MMA. They do amateur mat wrestling as well. It's like a mix of like almost all combat sports.
Yeah.
So with the Prime Pro Wrestling, I would say we've been picking up more students for sure. We haven't officially been able to like ran full shows yet. We do maybe like um we try and get as much clips as we can, during training and all that. But actual official shows, we haven't been able to like, run any yet.
I hope
But
the
hopefully soon, we're definitely trying to work with something and get something rolling soon. We're doing shows there.
bro. I will remind me when we go off the air. I will feed you a concept that I have
Yeah.
fed to
Yeah.
Australia, I have fed to the UK, and I have
Okay.
fed to Portugal, and it is working
Oh,
phenomenally
okay.
there. I
Sounds
mm,
good.
I am a huge proponent of helping
Mhm.
and doing anything that I can do to support you guys because you
Mhm.
guys are the ones that are out there crushing it, killing it, and doing everything
Mhm.
that you can do to bust your ass to be you guys are the future of the industry. And again, say all the time, if you don't invest in your future, then what the fuck are you doing? Why are
Mhm.
you here? Uh, I'm
Definitely.
telling you, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's
when you conquer, and again, let's go to the confidence thing because that can be something
yeah.
that is difficult.
Mhm.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
relate a little bit back in my day. That's the first time I've said that on this show. You'll probably hear it 3 or 4 more times. I it took a second for me to kind of calm down and settle into who I was trying to be as a character and
Mhm.
as gimmick. And but once I got there, it was super simple.
Mhm.
Uh, when
Yeah.
it came to the confidence, is that something that you still struggle with, or do you feel like you've over the
Mhm.
last year and a half, do you feel like you've kind of got a good footing with that?
Mhm. No, there are some times where I do definitely feel like I do struggle with it. I think for me, it's like once I'm in the moment and once I'm like, having a match or whatever, I kind of like, cool down a little bit. But, sometimes, during training or, when I'm not having a match or we're doing some drills, sometimes I do catch myself and I'm like, damn, like I wish that could have been better and stuff like that. But, like we talked about earlier, like the more reps and reps, like for sure, like that definitely has been helping. Um, I'll be having my, I think sixth or seventh match here in 2 weeks. And coming into it, I definitely do feel a little more confident versus like my first match that I had last year, for my debut. So yeah, with all the reps, all the reps have been helping with the confidence, but sometimes, I do still see myself struggling with that for sure.
Shout out to Bacon Grease 1115. They're giving you a shout out. Jackpot with some thumbs up.
Mhm.
So yes, welcome to the
Love it.
show.
Love it. Thank you.
Um, I ask all this because again, you just said something. Usually, it's kind of where I go next. Is your debut and what that looks like for you as you're a talent. I know for me,
Mhm.
I always preface this and tell a story that it can't get worse than this with a debut. I tripped over the ring steps and the ropes going into the ring. And it
Mhm.
was not on purpose. I was a bowl full of fucking nerves,
Mm.
but I made it work
Yeah.
for me. Every time I went back to that town, I trolled myself, and I did the same thing every time. Tripped over the steps and the ropes. What was running through
Yeah.
your mind when you're getting ready to step out through that
Mhm.
curtain? What's the
Mhm.
company that you're getting your debut match in? If it's not
Mhm.
if it's not the training facility, like I'm genuinely curious. What's that look like for you?
Wow. So what I've noticed is like the matches that I've had before, I do get the pre-match jitters, obviously. Um, but the way I see it, I was telling my buddies just a couple of weeks ago. I feel like if you don't get the pre-match jitters, then you shouldn't be doing this. If you're not, excited or nervous to get into that ring, then it's not something you love. That's just how I see it. So, like obviously the pre-match jitters are there, but what I also have noticed, obviously stepping out through the curtain, getting to that ring, kind of like all that just goes away, and you're like living in the moment. And you're like, all right, I'm here. Let's go down, let's be collective, let's have a banger match. But that's kind of like the way I've been like processing through the matches and all that. And the company that I'm actually debuting for in Albuquerque is Phase One Pro Wrestling. Shout out Phase One Pro. They're having their July, June show called Turn and Burn.
Hmm.
It's going to be a fun show, but they've been around for, I think they started doing shows maybe like 2 years ago. I wasn't able to do the shows last year, because of like all the stuff I had going on. But I'm really excited to finally be able to debut for that company. I've worked pretty hard to get into there, own the craft, but definitely really excited for that debut there.
I am all for guys getting to work in new locations,
Mhm,
whether it be in your own
mhm,
local market or outside of your local market.
mhm,
This is just the more
mhm.
work you get, the better. As you're
Oh yeah.
developing yourself and you
Mhm.
come up, this is one of my favorite pieces of conversation is talking about the character work.
Yeah.
How does the jackpot come into the equation and give me a little bit on creating the character, if you will.
Oh, that's a fun question. I was excited for that one.
Yeah.
So the jackpot, so I'm a really big poker player. I love poker, everything about it. Texas Hold'em, all that stuff. Um, all the chips, all the cards, I would say like overall I'm solid poker player. Obviously not the best. I'm not like Phil Hellmuth or Daniel Negreanu, if anybody knows who they are. But, I love my poker. So when I, obviously started showing and all that, it's when you're developing a gimmick, obviously you want it to be something that, you know, you love or you're personal with, or, something that defines who you are in a way.
Hmm.
So when I created the jackpot, I was like, all right, like what do I love? What am I into? And obviously I had a few ideas in mind, but then I thought about it, I'm like, oh, like I'm a poker player, like slot machines, like because there's a few casinos here and I haven't gone to them, but I used to, go play whatever blackjack, play the slot machines. So for me, like creating the jackpot was, like really, really fun. Kind of like I was like, oh, it's like a light bulb moment almost. I'm like, oh, I could just be this, poker player, slot machine loving, card dealing, dice rolling character. And it's fun because with this character, like it's almost like, you know, obviously we talked about the confidence earlier, but there should be a lot of confidence with this character. It's like kind of Rico Suave character. I feel like I could just there's a lot of fluidity. Sorry, with this character for sure.
I remember my first character was terrible, absolutely terrible. And it lasted for two
What was it?
seasons. Okay, so you got to get the whole concept. Like, so Zen, right, is a form
Mhm.
of peace and tranquility, right? Zen is the
Mhm.
form of it. I was Zin,
Okay.
Zen Master, and I thrived in
Okay.
chaos. And I was 17 years old at this point in time, and
Okay.
I thought this was just
Oh shoot.
the dopest fucking thing in the world until I walked out in front of a crowd of crickets, and I went, what?
Oh
Like, no, nothing? Like, okay, we need to go back to the damn drawing board because it just didn't work. But for me, the transition
hmm
from the Zen Master to Chronic Chris Page was pretty fucking simple.
hmm
Um, and
No, okay.
it turned into five and a half year give or take run all over the South, and I had a blast
Oh
doing it.
shoot. Wow.
Uh, I
That's
mean,
awesome.
my claim to fame was working with the Rock and Roll Express for about 6 weeks.
Dang.
Had a whole
Oh
league
wow.
with them, whole tour.
That's
Fantastic. Sherry Martell in my corner.
wow.
Couldn't.
That's
It
awesome.
was great.
Wow.
It was fucking great. That was the
Holy
time.
fuck. That's awesome.
Uh,
Yeah.
when you're putting the jackpot together and you're getting the whole gimmick together and the whole make and kit and
hmm
caboodle, were there any challenges that you came across with it, or did it just kind of just once you got your concept, it just kind of naturally came?
Yeah. So when like creating the jackpot and like even actually into like creating the gear that I use, I'm like, all right. So the jackpot's flashy. Colorful. So when I made my gear, I'm like, all right. Let's do something. That's not normal. Or let's use some colors that a lot of people don't use. So my main color scheme right now, I'm doing gold, emerald, and white
Hmm.
gear trunks tights, and then my boots are just straight up gold. So I got some gold boots, and then I'm excited because for this next P1P show, I got a jacket coming in. It's gonna be all gold. So when I think of the jackpot, obviously I think flashy, shiny, exciting. So that's definitely like I thought about when doing all that.
I like that your mind is on your gear because that's something that I think a lot of
Mhm,
people look past is, they say in
mhm,
the real world you dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. And
mhm,
and the same thing
mhm,
could be said in the world of independent wrestling. You don't want to come out
mhm.
looking like a, cheap knockoff version of a pro wrestler when it comes to your gear because your gear defines
Yeah.
you. If you're willing to, it's an investment into
Mhm,
yourself is ultimately where I'm getting at. And if you can invest into
mhm,
yourself and produce quality gear and say it helps you
mhm,
along the way, and you're so young in your career that you're already grasping that concept is actually rather impressive.
mhm. Yeah, so like I said, like one thing I thought about, when I was like coming up in training, I'm like, all right, how can I possibly get the crowd's attention when I come out and to like not come out to crickets? So I thought about like, okay, if I get some, obviously really nice looking gear and like obviously cool entrance or anything, then the crowd is gonna be like drawn into you. So that's why I went with like the color scheme that I have right now, especially the gold, because I mean it's like pops off, definitely an attention grabber for sure.
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. Now that
Yes, sir.
you've gotten into the ring and you're working a little bit here, you're working a little bit there.
Mhm,
And again, you're so young into your journey so far.
mhm. Yeah.
What have you learned from, your first match? Now you're rolling into your seventh or your eighth. What are some stuff that you've already picked up on? Because there's a lot that I say that and I ask that because,
Mhm,
you can be taught everything, but once you're out there in front of the
mhm.
fucking crowd, some of that stuff gets thrown out the window. And you have to
Yeah.
improvise and you have to go. What are some of the things that you've already learned thus far?
I would say the biggest thing I've learned is slowing down for sure. Like obviously, I know for sure. Like obviously, my first match versus now, it's like when I think of it, I'm like I've been told, like if you slow down and and you're not going 1,000 miles per hour, like the crowd will be more drawn into it because you're how do you say you're trying to build a story for sure. Like
Mm-hmm.
during a match, you want to make a story, you want to create a story with your opponent. So in a sense, like keeping everything calm and collected, it's better than like obviously just running through a match right away, fast and fast. Which I mean, obviously I do like the fast paced style as well, but I've been definitely more into like wanting to create a story during a match. That's one of the biggest thing, if not the biggest thing I've learned so far.
It's freaking hysterical that you say that because that's one of the answers most of the guys. Slow down. I have to learn how to, you know, tone it down and be run slower. Literally earlier today, I was watching the show from Ireland, and there was a spot in the match where both guys hit a double crossbody fly, right? The big collision, center of the ring. The referee, and I lost my shit. I was on a live show. The referee, instead of counting, one, backing away, two,
Yeah.
backing away.
Oh no.
This motherfucker goes one, two, three,
Jesus.
four, five,
No.
six, seven,
Oh
eight.
no.
They're both of the guys stand up. I'm like, bro, you just took the fucking cell away. What are you
There goes
doing?
yeah, there goes the whole
You
yeah,
ignorant,
that's terrible.
ignorant referee. Um, so yeah, slowing
I would
down
have
is
been pretty mad at the referee if that happened during a match.
ah,
Yeah,
mm.
I'd be
And
pissed.
this was from a show that was a couple of weeks ago, and I went because there's a lot that we do on our channel, and there's a lot that a lot of people don't see. Like we do have companies that say, "Hey, I need you to
Mhm.
critique our shit," and they'll send it to us, and we watch it. And that was just
Yeah,
that's not one of those companies, but it was a situation where I was just like, "Bro, like it's a perfect example. Slow down doesn't only refer to in ring. It referees too. Slow the fuck down. Give your guys time to sell. Let
yeah,
them tell
yes,
their story.
exactly.
Um,
exhale, breathe, like
because
all that stuff.
yeah, because this thing is a roller coaster ride. When you step into the ring,
Hmm.
it's all psychology based too, right? Like
Yeah.
that was one of the things I was really good at was
Hmm.
playing psychology and playing the psychological game and working crowds and just being able to read a room,
Hmm.
essentially. How is that with you?
Hmm.
Is your site, are you getting to a point now where you can read the crowd that you can kind of, don't want to give too many secrets, guys, but when you're putting your match together, if I was putting
Yeah.
something together with somebody back in the day, and we're in the ring and it's not necessarily translating the way that we thought it would, we're not getting the reactions that we thought we were getting, we would change it up. We would then go into ad lib mode and try and figure it out.
Hmm.
What is some of the, what's your psychology game look like? And have you been put in a position to where maybe you've had to change on the fly to get your crowd back behind you?
Um, I don't think yet with the matches I've had yet, I've been put in that position. I know I will in the future for sure. But so I did have a match with a good friend of mine. His name is Triste. I'm wearing a shirt as well. Shout out
Ah,
Triste. We had a match. We had a match, and then just like the way it was like Bill and what we talked about. We definitely, the crowd reaction was there, which obviously I wanted. Obviously, like from start to finish, the crowd was genuinely invested into it. The story that we told, is he like turned on me. We like started off as friends with the match, and mid match, he turned on me, and that was just a good story because like the crowd was already invested with like the stuff we were doing already. So when he pivoted and turned his back on me and then started like beating my like doing dirty tactics and all that. That crowd that got the crowd like oh like emotional. I feel like emotionally invested into that, and they're like no Ricky, and then like boo please say that stuff how it is, but for sure like you know going into this match here in 2 weeks for sure that's just one thing that's sticking with me already as I'm thinking of my match coming up. Like, how can we get the crowd, invested in it, and like obviously making noise throughout the crowd because I wouldn't never want to have a match where it's like crickets because that would suck.
oh, it's terrible. It's it happens. It
And
happens.
it probably will happen one day, and like I'll learn from it. Yeah.
But all you gotta, I mean, what I used to do, and all I can tell you, I mean, number one is figure it out because, and I know that sounds
Hmm.
very straightforward and a non-answer, but it's different in front
Yes.
of every crowd that you're in front of. It whatever they're looking
Hmm.
for. What I used to do, um, well, I used to tell promoters all the time, if I'm not last, I'm going on first because I either want to set the tone
Oh,
for the
okay.
show or
Yeah.
I want to close the show. That was, and I didn't get that way until I was about a year and a half in. But once I realized that I had something
Hmm.
and that I was able to draw some money for the areas that we were in, I was like, all right, cool, this is what I need to do. But when
Hmm.
it didn't go right, a piece of
Hmm.
advice that I was given way back by Ricky Morton was number one, it was slow down, but it was listen. So if you get, and what he meant by that is I
Okay.
asked him to like dive a little deeper, listening to the crowd. If you can get one, just one person to react, it's like a herd mentality.
That's good. Yeah.
Play to that one person because that one person is
Hmm.
going to turn into two. That two will turn into three. It will start a chain
The
reaction. And
snowball effect. Yeah.
correct. If
Yeah.
and as a
Yeah.
heel, which is what I did, if I wasn't getting
Mhm.
heat, I mean, there was always one kid, always one that had to be a
Oh yeah.
smartass. So that's who I would go after and target, and then I would just slowly work them around. It may not happen to you, brother.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Hmm.
it may be
That's
blessed to where that shit don't happen, but that's the one that I tell you. Just kind of look for that one because there's going to be one, whether you're babyface or heel.
Mhm.
There's going to be one person that'll react to you. If you get one, you can work it into to getting more. Um,
Yeah.
I think that
Would definitely remember that.
you're talking about this match that's coming up in 2 weeks. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about that. Let's where's what's your company? Who's the opponent? Where's it at? Give me some information. We're gonna manifest and
Yeah.
put this stuff out there.
Yeah. This is exciting. Yeah. So next match in 2 weeks. Officially making my debut for the company here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Phase One Pro. I'm going up against Gmo Kaminari. He's from El Paso, Texas. He's coming off a big debut in AEW. He was actually on there a few weeks ago, so that was exciting to see. I was excited for him. But this match actually, like it's like a big moment for me for sure with this company because I've been, wanting to get on this company and, like obviously there was some setbacks last year, so I couldn't. So, I've been working towards this debut with them and, like obviously my family's excited, my friends, colleagues, all excited. And you brought up earlier about, like opening or closing the match, how you like to do either or.
Hmm.
As of now, I'm scheduled to be the show opener. So me and GMO are the first match. So I'm definitely super excited about that because I think, we're gonna have an amazing match and it's gonna set the tone for what's already a stacked card. So I'm definitely excited for that. A little nervous, but more excited for sure.
As the heel, when I would be involved in the openers, again, it's a lot of responsibility. I think the two most important
Mhm.
places on the card is your opener and your closer. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're setting the tone, you're setting the pace with your opener, and your closer
Mhm.
is obviously what people paid to see. Quote unquote.
Yeah,
Uh, and
yeah.
with that, having that mentality and having that power, because that is a position of power to me. Because again,
Mhm.
you're it's on you and your opponent to light this thing up, right? Um,
Yeah.
when you think about the this debut and what it means to you and
Mhm.
the work that you've put in to get here, what
Mhm.
if you could tell your opponent anything right now? What would that be?
Mhm. Like obviously, let's have a banger of match. That's gonna be like the first thing I tell him. Obviously, when I see him, I'm just excited for this match. But like I'll say, like it's a big moment for me because like my colleagues, for example, Triste, he's one of their mainstays right now in Phase Pro. He became really well liked, and then my other close colleague Jacob Payne, shout out Jacob Payne. He's out with an injury right now, but he's like Phase Pro's monster. So it's big shoes to fill in for him for sure. So hopefully I can make him proud. But with my opponent coming up, I'm just just excited to be able to open the show, have a banger match because like our styles are similar. He's been around longer. He's with us for a few years now, but it's for sure gonna be a nice fast paced match. So I'm trying to create a good story with that, and with the promos that we've been doing, I'm definitely excited for that.
I First of all, congratulations on getting the opportunity to debut and with this company. And for those of you out there, like it may not seem like that big of a deal, but truly it is because you don't
Mhm.
when you work as
Yeah.
hard as some of these guys are working on the scene just to get the opportunity. And there's no guarantee. It's just an opportunity. It is a sense of
Mhm.
validation. It is a sense that the work that they're putting in it is not going unnoticed, and that there are people out there who
Mhm.
want you to be a part of the show. So I definitely want to congratulate you on this because I know
Thank
more
you.
than anybody else what working towards something like this means, especially it's so young into your career. And I can also just off
Mhm.
of conversation and just reading a room, it's not going to be the last time that you
Mhm.
get a debut somewhere that you want to get to. A lot of this
Yeah.
has to do with
Hopefully not.
mentality. Oh, there's no hopefully. The manifestation's big on this
Yes, sir.
channel. There's
Manifest it.
there's no
Manifest it,
there's
baby.
no there's no room for error.
I love it.
It will happen. And I know it's just going to be fun to watch for sure. And
Mhm.
you've got this big debut coming up. Outside
Mhm.
of that, like give me some of your personal highlights so far. Like what's some stuff that stands out over
Mhm.
the last year? Like I said, you didn't get to do too much last year with odds and ends, but give me some of the stuff that's kind of stood out to you so far.
And like personal wise, right? Like outside of wrestling, you
No,
mean?
wrestling related. Yeah,
Oh, and and wrestling.
yeah.
So things that have been like really exciting. So this year I got the chance to. I've already like traveled a few places, so it's been super exciting. My actually first two matches back, I got the opportunity to go to San Antonio.
Okay.
and it was at a small city called Petite, Texas. And then the day after, we drove down to, I think it's Arlington, Texas.
Hmm.
So I got the opportunity to wrestle in Texas, for like my second and third match back. So that was really fun. It was a good experience. Got to travel with my colleagues. We had some fun matches for sure. And then a few weeks ago, I was actually in Phoenix, Arizona. And for me, that Phoenix trip was kind of a full circle moment because last year, no, this year, my colleagues had actually debuted in Phoenix. Three of my colleagues, Triste, Jacob Payne, and Ronan, they got the chance to wrestle for Arizona Wrestling Federation. And, at the time, I didn't get that opportunity. But, I was happy for them. I rode with them, helped them out with the driving. So that was a fun experience. But I was there actually 3 weeks ago, not at that company, but for a company called POR, for promotions. So they're a lucha based company. And, I got the opportunity to go to Phoenix. I went alone, but for me, that felt like a full circle moment because, like obviously they got to do it. And I'm like, oh, like now I finally get to do, wrestle in Phoenix like they did. So I was really happy about that. But so far those have been like some, I'd say, pretty nice highlights so far this year for me.
Well, first of all, Texas is the only fucking state I know that you can drive 8 hours and still be in Texas. That is,
It was, it was crazy. So, oh my god, so the drive to San Antonio, I believe, was like a 14-hour drive. But to the other city, it was another 4 hours on top of that. So we did, the double shot weekend. But Sunday we finished the show. I think it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. Drove back all the way to Albuquerque. It was like 18 hours total. It was a tough trip. It was a tough trip, but definitely made some fun memories from that one. Because it was literally like on the edge of Texas, and I think it was, I don't know what part of Mexico it was, but it was a border city. So it's Texas and then Mexico.
hmm
So that was an interesting show for sure. But the drive was crazy. It was tough.
those are some of the best trips, though. Like, I used to tell,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
tell my better half when I was traveling. Um, that first of all, I was
Mhm.
fucking 24 years younger. So
Mhm.
and in decent shape. So it was way easier then
Mhm.
than it would be now. But I can
Yes.
see you getting out there. But the memories that are made is what's
Mhm.
funny. I mean, it just takes me to a whole different piece of the conversation. I gotta know.
Yeah.
Travel stories always lead to some good practical jokes and some good ribs.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to put you on
Yeah,
the spot with
exactly.
ribs, but if there's anything that you are comfortable with talking about with some ribs, travel ribs are always the best. I'll lay the foundation. Anybody on my channel that's followed for any point in time knows that I'm a tassel guy. If you wore tassels, you were losing
Mhm.
one.
Oh, okay.
You were losing just one if you were in the ring with me. Whether it was on
Yeah.
your arms, your boots, if you had a tassel, and if you worked with me for 2 weeks, it was good luck, because it was one tassel or
Hmm.
none. If we were traveling, uh,
Hmm.
I mean, hey, we've done fish underneath the driver's seat in 2 cars. Uh, we've done some odds and ends. Is there any travel stories that you might not get in trouble for
Mm,
telling? If you get in trouble for telling them, don't
uh,
fucking do it.
no, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But like it was that that a Texas trip. It was me, Triste, Jekatane, Ronan, and another colleague, Max OFM. He's based in Tucson. So it's like the smallest. It's funny because my friend Triste was in charge of getting the car, the rental. And then when he told us what kind of car it was like, oh, it's a nice compact SUV. We'll be fine, whatever. But when we got it, it was like the opposite of a compact SUV. So, and Ronan, Triste, and Jacob Payne, they're like stocky dudes. So like, and, like obviously Ronan sat up front, but we're in the back, all with each other. It kind of sucked because we were so tight with
Hmm.
each other, and that was just I was going through it. Not gonna lie. And then we just reached a level of like deliriousness where like we were all so tired that we're like, damn, like. Trista's looking a little handsome right now, or
Uh,
Ronan's looking a little sexy over there because of how long we've been traveling, and it was just funny. It's like really funny like jokes that he came up with.
I get it. I've done that many times. Um, so I understand.
Yeah.
We man, we did so much stuff back in the day. Of course, times are different, things are
Hmm.
different. Well, there was no internet, so
Hmm.
you didn't have to worry about someone capturing your shit and throwing it out there for everybody to see. You could have a good time and just rib each other and have fun and not
Yeah.
take it too deep. I remember uh, someone got me. One of my buds got me with a piece of dog poop in a paper sack and put it in my gear.
Oh no.
Put it in my travel bag and zipped it up. Put it
That's
in put it in the trunk. We were on the road for 7 hours. Yeah,
you're like, what the fuck is that smell?
brother. When I opened that bag in the locker room, I cleared it, and I
No.
and I didn't even know.
That's
Like
yeah.
I think my boy gave himself away, and I mean that's just one that was pulled on me. It was funny. It got me as I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
But it's
I
just
haven't had like an extremely funny rib or anything like that, but next
oh
when the
just
first one I do, I'll let you know what
oh
happens.
just wait, they'll come. They'll come. You can have
I
have a
know,
good
yeah.
time with it. Um,
Yeah.
and what we've talked a little bit about what you got going on there. I do think it's great that you're traveling and that you're getting out there to make some loops and try and get some reps in because again, that's the
Hmm.
only way that you're really going to get your name out there. People have got to see you. People have
Oh
got
yeah.
to you've got to make those moves happen. Um, what
Mhm.
are some of the companies out there that, and it could be here in the States, it could be internationally. Where are some places that you want to go and work? Where are some companies that you want to, try and get some face time
Yeah, so obviously, I want to knock out the Southwest first. Phase One Pro was already the top one for me. I'd essentially, one day would like the chance to go to the NWA territory here in Albuquerque, Duke City Championship Wrestling.
with?
Because their venue is just beautiful. One day, it'd be nice to get in there. I want to wrestle where my friends wrestle in Arizona, Arizona Wrestling Federation. They're picking up a lot of steam. I know they have a show coming up with Elena Black, and they got a lot of like really good wrestlers there. Phoenix Championship Wrestling is also a really good one down in Phoenix. Um, I know Tommy Test, who's a really big wrestler here in Albuquerque. He trained with Phoenix Championship Wrestling, so one day that'd be a good. I'd like to go there. Um, I know. Oh yeah, there's also a company called Wrestle Drag. So I've seen a lot of their posts, and that seems like a really really fun company to go wrestle for. Their venues look amazing. So Wrestle Drag is up there for sure. Um, for now, I think I want to start off with those, and then because I don't know like in the other states or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know. Let's see. I know Limitless Wrestling. Has a really good fan base. Beyond Wrestling too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just found out about Wrestling Open. That's a company.
Mm-hmm.
I know they use a lot of the WWID guys, but that seems like a really really fun place to go to for sure.
I uh, I think some of those places that you named off are very very attainable. And the beautiful
Mhm.
thing about what we've been able to do and what we've been able to accomplish on this platform with this channel over the last 2 years is networking and developing relationships with a lot of different people,
Mhm.
whether it's talent, whether it's promoters. You'd say Arizona
Yeah,
Wrestling Federation. I just had to do a quick double check there just to make sure I had my information correctly
yeah,
because again, we watch things all over the world and internationally. Um,
yeah.
we have an in there that I'll
Um,
shoot your way once we get off the air. We have a couple of ends with Limitless Wrestling. We have a lot of things
okay,
on
sweet,
on this channel that we are able to
nice.
to
That's
shoot
awesome.
your way. Yeah, no, no, no. It's just a way that we can say, here you go, and if something happens from it and you get some work from it, the more the merrier.
Yeah,
And that's the beautiful
yeah.
thing about kind of what we do here, and how we maintain relationships. I tell people all the time, I'm not here for short-term gain. I'm here for long-term
Hmm.
relationships and
Hmm.
networking and
Hmm.
with again like our conversations. Uh, I usually we're scratching the surface. I do that intentionally. I do it because I want you
Yeah.
to come back. I don't want it to be a one-time appearance, a
Yeah.
one-time deal. I want to be able to build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Whether
Oh
it
yeah, that's awesome.
be like it's just and not just myself. We've got 7 co-hosts on this channel from all over the world, and
Yeah.
everybody has a different market, and everybody has a different fan base. So there's so much things that are unreal nowadays that it's mind blowing
Hmm.
at times. Now, we've
Yeah.
talked a little bit about, wrestling, obviously, for the last 40-ish minutes, 45 minutes. I want to talk a little bit about you. With you're
Hmm.
busy with, you've got a new restaurant that you guys have opened
Hmm.
up. You've got professional wrestling. A
Hmm.
lot of this stuff is time consuming. If it's anything you want to talk
Hmm.
about with the restaurant, man, go right ahead. And then I want to ask you a
Yeah.
little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, I got the opportunity with my best friend. He opened up, which is his third spot now, and it's like a partnership. He gave me the opportunity to be with him, and I've been at this new one since we actually had our grand opening or last Wednesday. We had our grand opening, so it's been awesome. It's been busy. I've been really busy with that. I'm on like my sixth or seventh 12-hour like day right now. It's nice taking a little break, but we'll get back to the grind in a little bit. And it's been awesome. For sure. I'm trying to like obviously make space and time to like when I can go train. I was able to go train yesterday for a little bit, but I had to come back to work. But it's been fun. Obviously I'm enjoying it. It's a good opportunity because I like the restaurant business. It's fun. I like customer service. Serving food. We have really good food. We're a Vietnamese based restaurant, so we sell Vietnamese food,
Okay.
and we got a really good spot where like the traffic is there. We're next to like basically like the interstate, the highway, so it's a good spot for sure. So that's been awesome.
How do you decompress with everything that you've got going on? You've got 12-hour days of work, you've got professional wrestling. What do you like to do in your free time that's kind of just away from everybody?
Mhm.
It's you time. What's your deal?
Mhm. Well, for sure, I like to go to the gym. Just pop my earbuds in, go to the gym. Get a nice workout in. That's one of my for sure decompress. I like to go out with some friends. The weekends. We'll go out, have some fun. Um, let's see. I'm kind of a nerd, so sometimes on my free time I'll play some video games. I'm a big Pokemon nerd. Love Pokemon. All the Nintendo games. I recently picked up it's like a PS5 shooter game with like a toy as a character. That's been fun. But like I just like to really just chill. Like if I'm not doing any of those, and I'm just at home just chilling, listening to music, laying down, getting some rest in for sure.
I I feel you. People ask me all the time, "Hey man, what do you do? What do you do to wind down?"
Yeah.
I say independent wrestling. This is my wind down. What are you talking
And
about?
then like yeah, that too.
I mean, it's 45, 50 hour week at the real job, another 20, 25 at
Hmm.
this, and
Hmm.
married, two
Hmm.
dogs. Thankfully my better half understands that this is it's
Your
you know
passion,
yeah,
your love.
yeah, man, and it's really
Yeah.
taken off. This has been a 2-year project, and I want to say truthfully, over the last year, we've really been blessed. We've had some really phenomenal
That's
people
awesome.
that have been able to come through that have chatted with us. We had Alex
Hmm.
Kane on a couple of weeks ago, Danny Limelight, uh, Mark
Oh,
Haskins from
nice.
overseas, Richard Holiday's coming in
Wow.
July.
I
Uh,
saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
and those are just what I've announced. I've not even put what's behind you know door number 2 over here. Hasn't even been opened yet.
Mhm.
But it's such a beautiful
Mhm.
thing, man. And a piece of it
Yeah.
that makes it so beautiful is by being able to sit down and chat with guys like you who are out there again
Mhm.
crushing it and entertaining entertaining the masses. Um,
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions as we start to kind of wind things down a little bit. And again, I just scratched the surface with you, and I'm well aware of that
Mhm.
as we're winding it down. Um, I like to pick the brains fans and see kind of
Mhm.
from your perspective. I always ask guys and girls that step through, who should we be watching? And what I mean by that, obviously, is people that you've been in the ring with. Could be people that you travel with. There's people that we should be on
Mhm.
our radar.
Okay, for sure. I'm gonna give some shout outs. Obviously, I'll start with my colleagues. Triste for sure. He's definitely one of Albuquerque's, most athletic wrestlers, I would say, because of how he's built. They call him he's built like a tank because he's like stocky, but the way he moves is literally like cruiserweight status. Like he's built like a super heavyweight, but moves like a cruiserweight. It's insane. It's
Okay.
insane watching him. So Trista is really good. I love him. Jacob Payne, he's currently on the shelf right now. He had an MCL tear, so he's gonna be out for a while. But before that, he's already picking up some steam with the Phase One Pro, Arizona Wrestling Federation. So when he does, come back, it's gonna be awesome because I know he's gonna come back and like destroy everyone in his path. It's gonna be great to see. Ronan is also someone here from Albuquerque that's for sure picking up a lot of steam. He works with the Duke City Championship Wrestling slash NWA, and just like his character work and his powerhouse abilities. It's like it's amazing because whenever he does the promos, like he does so much into those promos, where it's like you're almost watching a movie. It's crazy. And
Hmm.
then like also like it's like hard hitting moves, and it's a joy watching Ronan. I love watching Ronan. Tommy Test is also, he's picking up a lot of steam as well. He does the Duke City Championship Wrestling, NWA. He also goes to, the Phoenix Championship Wrestling, and I know he goes to Colorado as well for Rocky Mountain Pro, which is I think Colorado's top promotion. So he's really someone to look at. And actually the main event of Phase One Pro, it's Ocean Avery versus Bryce Saturn. Ocean Avery, he's from here in Albuquerque, one of like the best technical wrestlers, for sure here in Albuquerque and like probably the Southwest. He's tall and muscular, like mean looking, but he's for sure an example of like someone that's whole package for sure.
Okay.
So in
That's
my eyes, I think like that's some people to watch. See, yeah.
sure. Again, the reason I ask is we have internal spreadsheets that we just. This is one of many shows that we film on the channel. We film spotlight shows, which is diving into 2 hours of work from a various wrestler, independent style. We have our
Mhm.
down the rabbit holes. We have our inside the indies where we watch shows back. I say all that to say the names that you give me, especially those that are not there that we haven't seen before, they make our internal sheets. At some point in time, there'll be a show that's going to be filmed on them,
Nice.
and we'll take a peek at them and see what we see. Because
Mhm.
again, there are so many hidden gems, and being able to watch independent wrestling from
Mhm.
all over the world, you miss some
Mhm.
people because there's so much stuff out
Mhm.
there. And it's a way for our platform to continue to grow, and it keeps that door moving. There are several people that you
Mhm.
mentioned that I have not seen before, and I love first time watches. I love first time conversations,
Nice.
and I love
Yeah.
getting granular when I'm watching professional wrestling because it's truly a beautiful thing. And it can
Mhm.
bring people together if you allow it to, and
Yeah.
can get past the bullshit tribalism and just enjoy professional wrestling
Mhm.
for what it is, professional wrestling.
Mhm.
Um,
And like I feel like that's the thing too with like, especially Albuquerque that's barely starting to like scratch the surface of like, the scene here. There's like so many hidden talent here that's like, no one has seen yet because of, like, nobody knows nobody knows there's a professional wrestling in Albuquerque. But soon, soon everyone's gonna find out for sure what we're
I
about.
I feel like everywhere is gonna kind of pop and kind of blow. Um,
Hmm.
and you feel free
Yeah.
to pass along to anybody that's in your circle about our platform and what we do here. And
Oh
if
yeah.
they want to come and chat and they want to come and talk to us about what they got going on, all they got to do is send a message. It's the same way you did. Which is interesting. It's
Yeah.
something that I didn't fucking think about. I don't know why I've gotten an hour into this conversation before even it crossed my mind. How did you come
It
across?
flew.
How did you
It
come
flew.
across us?
I think I'm really, really trying to remember because like my memory is so terrible. You're. Oh my god, it's so bad. I remember. I think it was a week after my Arizona trip. I got back, and I knew it was Instagram for sure.
Hmm.
I knew it was Instagram. So it might have been like, like those, like an advertisement that I popped up and saw.
Dude, if we got ads on Instagram, that's news to me, my man. I appreciate it
Let's
nonetheless.
try. Because sometimes you'll get pages from people like that you don't follow, but it'll give
Yes,
you the option to follow them.
suggestions
So I'm
probably. Yeah,
positive. Suggestions, yeah, yeah. So yeah, suggestions, yeah,
it's
yeah.
fantastic.
That's
That's
what it
it.
was.
I hate
Yeah.
social media. I think it's the bane of all existence, but it's a necessary evil right now. And I think that is
Hmm.
great because actually it proves that kind of what we're doing here is working. Because if it
Hmm.
connected us, uh,
Hmm.
just algorithmically, like, hey, you should probably follow this person. Then it will
Yeah.
probably connect many others as well. And I think that it's a beautiful thing. That's the positive side of social
So
media. Negative side of it is, everybody thinks they have a voice and it needs to be heard. Sometimes you just need to shut the fuck up and let things play out. That's what I have found as my philosophy.
definitely.
Backside of that, my next question for you is when it comes down to dream matches, man. Like, who are some people out there on the scene that you'd like to tangle with and get in the ring with?
Let's see. I'm like just throw some names from the whole United States. There's a tag team. They might be built from, I don't know if it's Nevada, but they're called Los Suavecitos. I've seen their tag team work and it's awesome. So we'll definitely, one day would like to tag with my friend Triste or another colleague versus Los Suavecitos because I've seen their stuff. I love it. Starboy Charlie is the name that pops up. I know he's
Mm-hmm.
been popping off lately for sure.
Yep.
Starboy Charlie, Jack Cartwheel. Oh my god, he's
Mm-hmm.
insane. WWID for sure. It's awesome seeing. It's always seeing whenever I see his matches or come across his clips, I'm like, how the hell does he do that? Like
That's
with the athleticism that he has. So let's see. Name one. I'm trying naming a few. Mm, there's I got the chance to team with him at POR, but his name is Darius. He's a luchador. He's in Arizona for a short time, but he's from Mexico. And it's crazy because he's one of those luchadors that it's like a, how do you call it? Like a secret, like a hidden secret that you've never heard of. But when you see him, you're like, what the fuck? So one day I would like to wrestle him. His name's Darius. Really
okay.
fun wrestler. Mm, I did. I did talk to him for a little bit. I did. He was my opponent in the tag match. His name is the BGT. He's a wrestler based in Phoenix, Arizona. So he goes by the BGT. We had a good little little chain spot, little tie up. I hit him with a Night Turk and Rana, but for example, like him would be someone I like to tangle with for sure.
Okay.
But I think those are some names that would be fun for sure.
Well, again, I'm a big firm believer of manifestation. I put them out there into the universe, brother, and we see what bites and what sticks. Because
Mhm.
again, like if that's a small thing that we can do for you guys, then we'd love to make some things happen. Uh, and
Mhm.
figure it out from there. And promoters, if you hear this and you see this, and you may have tabs, then you need to reach out. We're love more than happy to sponsor. That's again a piece of what we do. This Ricky, man, it's been fun to sit down and just really kind of get to
Yeah.
know you a little bit, and
Mhm.
hear a little bit about the scene that you've got going on down there, your journey thus far. Say with these conversations all the time, it's just scratching the surface to getting into
Oh
some
yeah.
some deeper things down the line, man. Is there
Mhm.
anything else that you want to talk about? Anything you want to throw out there? What kind of bookings do you got coming up outside of your big debut that's coming up? Is there anything that you want to
Mhm.
plug? The floor is yours to do so, my man.
Cool. Obviously I'd like to plug Prime Pro Wrestling. Check us out. We're on Instagram. Prime Pro Wrestling. We're also on Facebook. I want to shout out Phase One Pro, this, the company here in Albuquerque who produces some of the best matches in the scene here. Um, shout out, obviously all my colleagues in Prime Pro Wrestling, Triste, Jacob Payne, Ronan. Tommy Tets, like they're all fun, lovable guys. And like yeah, I mean, if you get a chance, check out my Instagram. Hopefully, there's something that you like about me, one of my moves or anything. But yeah, I'll do a little self plug, I guess, as well.
I, that's hey, it's been on the screen the entire show, guys, right there underneath him. That's if you have not done so already, shame on you. Go fucking do
Yeah,
it now, because I said so. Uh,
please. Yeah,
yeah, the easiest way that you can support independent wrestling, guys, is by liking, sharing, and subscribing where you can. In the Jackpot's case, right there on Instagram, Ricky at. I almost botched it.
you had it the
I
first time.
I almost, but it's been an hour, brother. So I think you guys didn't
Yeah.
see this before we came on the air. I had to say his last name 20 times before I got it right. I'm just gonna spell it. Ricky Aguila 777.
Hey,
The sign of the
that's seven
jackpot.
on Jack.
Give him a
The
follow.
sign of the jackpot.
Give him a follow. I'm telling you.
Perfect. Please.
Make that happen. If you guys aren't following us on social media, you should as well. I'm at CCP underscore podcasting for the actual podcasting channel, and I've just recently opened up my own Chris underscore page underscore CCP podcasting on Instagram as well. If you have not done so, head over to YouTube, smash the subscribe button on CCP podcasting. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. This would not be possible without each and every one of you who have joined us along the way. I've guaranteed you, if we hit 1,000 by the end of September, my 43rd birthday, I will name the puppy and tell you guys who told us that we would never be successful on independent wrestling. And we can all give them a
Ooh.
fuck you together. Uh, Ricky, it's a pleasure, man. I cannot wait to circle back around with you. The door is always open
Yeah.
for you, for anything that we can do, anybody that you want to shoot our way that we can give some publicity to,
Mhm.
by all means do so. It has been
Yeah.
absolutely been a treat to have you on tonight, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully next time I come on, like it'll be a different, Ricky Aguilar versus now. So definitely excited to be back on in the future, and I'll for sure let my colleagues know, and I know they'll be more than excited to pop on as well.
Absolutely, brother. We'll be more than happy to have you back on. Guys, if you've enjoyed everything, we've enjoyed having you. I am Chris Page. This is the Jackpot. We will see you next time.
Thank you.